In a quiet little town, in a neighborhood school, there was a math teacher, Mrs. Popescu, known for her strictness. She had her hair neatly tied in a bun, always wore thin-framed glasses and sober suits, without a splash of color. She was respected and feared by all the students because she didn't tolerate any missteps. Even the smallest mistake was harshly punished. Forgetting homework would double the workload, and a poor test score meant extra study hours after school. One day, Andrea, a 10-year-old girl, came to school with a plan. She was always attentive in class, but one day she was caught talking to her friend, and Mrs. Popescu made her stay after school to write 100 times, "I will not talk during class." After this incident, Andrea felt that the teacher was being unfair. So, one day, she brought a permanent marker and wrote a simple message on the whiteboard: "Be kind and fair." When Mrs. Popescu entered the classroom, she froze. She tried to erase the message, but the permanent marker wouldn't budge. As each attempt failed, her face darkened, and her eyes filled with tears. It was the first time the students had seen her cry, and it deeply moved them. She was no longer that stern figure but a person who had made mistakes and was now powerless in the face of consequences. Seeing the teacher's reaction, Andrea felt guilty. She stood up and walked over to her, saying in a trembling voice, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Popescu. I didn't mean to hurt you, but I feel the punishments are too harsh and don't help us learn. My message was to remind you to be gentler with us." Mrs. Popescu listened carefully and, after a few moments of thought, hugged Andrea. "You're right, Andrea. I will try to be more understanding and help you learn with joy, not fear." From that day on, the atmosphere in the classroom changed. Mrs. Popescu became more empathetic and started encouraging the students to express their opinions freely, and Andrea and her classmates began to see her as a friend, not just a teacher. Classes became more interactive, and the students' results improved significantly. Everyone learned a valuable lesson about the importance of kindness and understanding in education.